Hello, and welcome to Confident HR Conversations, the podcast designed to help you navigate challenges of communicating in English as an HR professional with confidence and clarity. I'm Alena Konečná, and I'm glad you're here.
How can we grow in our careers and companies without burning out or losing what really matters? In this month's episode, we talk about sustainable growth. Growth that respects our limits, uses our resources wisely, and helps us move forward in a healthy way. My guest is Tereza Korecká, a coach who works with HR and leaders using principles of nonviolent communication. She explains why growth is not just about numbers or performance, but also about our needs, values, and relationships. We discuss how HR can support managers to become more empathetic leaders, how to balance authority with care, and how to ask better questions when things go wrong, so growth can be strong and human. Welcome, Tereza, to Confident HR Conversations. Thank you so much for joining our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Hello.
Excellent. So let's dive right into our topic today. I'm not sure if you agree with me, but sometimes I feel that growth is something like a mantra of modern times. Companies always seek profit and maximizing their profit. Of course, that's their raison d'être. But also people, they try to develop themselves personally, professionally, become better and better at what they do, what they are. So I'm curious, when you talk about nonviolent growth or sustainable growth, what exactly do you mean?
Okay. Yeah, you are right. Like the growth word is, I think, already a buzzword a little bit. I think that people are getting quite allergic about that word. But like the reality is that we change constantly and we want to change like in the positive way. So the growth itself, it's not like a bad thing. But that's why we, with my colleague, but we try to materialize the activities that you can do for growing sustainably. That's why the first word you mentioned is sustainable, which usually is used in terms of like ecology, etc. But when you think about that, it's like sustainably means that you want to do it continuously. You want to think about the resources you have and you can actually use, and you don't want to go in some depths, whether it is a planet thing or a personal thing. The main tool we use is communication, and I will explain why, but we use a lot of principles from the nonviolent communication, and that's why it looked nice to us and it catched between people to use this term nonviolent growth for growth that has some meaning, that has a meaning for the person, that is connected to the resources we have, not just to grow for the meaning of having a bigger numbers and pushing your actions to particular goal, but to reflect on what you actually have, can use, and if it's like sustainable, if you can sustain this type of growth forever, and if you want to, or if you grow in even the right direction, if you don't grow just without thinking. So that for us is sustainable growth. If I could maybe make it more understandable, or to divide it for people to imagine what activities or types of or buckets of things that are connected and that would make the growth sustainable, that would be concerning people needs, because all the things we do here in the world are in the means of sustaining or fulfilling human needs, whether it is that we need to drink and go to the bathroom, etc. But there are also like a higher needs of safety, fulfillment, creativity, learning. and everything we do to fulfill our needs. But we got a little bit in the rat race, and we tend to forget that we do this for our needs, and we get dragged with those numbers. So the needs are the first thing. The second one I already mentioned are those resources, because resources for us are not only energy and time, but also like motivation and concentration, empathy, etc. So, and even the relationship can be considered a resource, because when we do not take care of our resources, they will break down. And we are social creatures. We cannot survive breaking all of our relationships. Sorry. So it's needs, resources. Then it's to consider the motivation. If you use the motivation, and it's connected a little bit to the needs, but the motivation could be like, I do that because of my needs, for example, because of my needs to learn or need to be valued, or I can do that just because someone told me that I should do that to fulfill this number. So to sum it up, this is something, or these are the things that when you connect and when you think about them, you probably will be more on the track of that I will sustain this path of my life, whether it is like someone, or there are people that call it like life goals or life vision. Someone just want to be content and calm and have a nice life. It doesn't matter how you call that, but you should not be like draining yourself to get there.
Excellent. So what I'm hearing is that instead of looking at growth as a simple linear process where we get better or we get more of something or we develop ourselves, you're putting it in the context of the universal people needs, because everyone has needs that they need to fulfill. And on the higher, on maybe bigger level would be value, something that motivates us long-term and internally. And another things that you mentioned is resources, which makes a lot of sense, right? When we think about sustainability, we think about resources, but sometimes maybe people think about resources in terms of time, money, material, etc. But as you mentioned, it's a little bit more than just that. You can see also people around us as a source of meaning, motivation, maybe needs. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and even like sense, because from the human needs are universal, but everyone, and it changes in time, have a different like ratio of which need is actually for me right now. But so some people that have a little bit less inclining to be the social ones, they can grow without social connections, but there are people that really need that. But if they fall into the trap of everyone is like doing 3 educational courses per like month, so I need to do that, but I don't have time for my family, then it can get like really wrong. And that's why to be considered about our resources and our needs, do it like around just what is ours, not theirs, not just ours, can be really, really like saving. And one more thing that occurred to me is like the speed of things, because we hear that like the growth is like you need to do a lot of things, you need to grow and quicker and faster. And then there's the opposite, that you need to slow down, to just decide what you want to do and meditate a lot. Sometimes that is true, but when you're in life time, when you have a lot of resources, then you can do things fast. It's okay because you have those resources. But there are times then you have less resources. Then the slowing down is strategic. So for us, the sustainable growth or nonviolent growth isn't about any particular speed, to do it quickly or normally or slowly. It's about considering what are my current resources, what can I manage, and be sustainable with that. And that could be really, really fast, and that could be really, really slow, and it's individual.
Right. It's individual in the sense that everyone is different, but as you mentioned, also we are different in different stages of our lives, right? And that can be sometimes difficult when we start in our 20s with our career. We have a completely different speed or wishes or values or motivations than when, for example, we become parents and suddenly we just have to slow down in certain areas of our lives. But being empathetic, and that's also something that you mentioned earlier, that we need to be empathetic towards ourselves as well as towards others. And one more thing that you talk about on LinkedIn as well is the term empathetic leader. So I'm curious, could you tell us more about it, and how can it play out for HR professionals who maybe would like to see this more in their companies and in their managers?
Yeah, I get to talk with HRs lately quite often, and they talk about that they already know that, but the managers they are working with are a little bit lacking behind. So yeah, they're dealing with that a lot, and I think from what I heard or what I'm at, that managers are still think about the empathy is like being soft or letting things go. They're probably a little bit afraid of like losing control over things because most of them are reporting somewhere above them and they need to fill some KPIs, etc. So they are afraid if they just let go that they will be punished for that. And even the culture of the people that are currently managers, like the older people, they're still in a little bit different culture of those empathy. The topic they were raised by older people and it wasn't fashionable to be empathetic. Empathetic leader is not someone who is soft, is someone who knows himself very well and who can like stand still for the people there, and they can be like leaned on because they have the self-awareness of themselves, what their emotions are, what their needs are, so they can create the space for the people. They also know how to listen, because when you have calmness inside and you can like decide what are my emotions, what are my projections, and what is on the other side, you can listen and reflect much better than when you have a lot of things and the thoughts and projections inside of your head. So the self-awareness, the ability of empathetic listening and reflecting, then it's the ability of being vulnerable. This is something that is also quite difficult for men being in the higher positions, like to say, I don't know, is so difficult for them. So they are not able to model this behavior for the people beneath them, but people need to be able to say, I don't know, because when you are not able to say, I don't know, you don't get help and you are trapped inside of all your fears, etc. So being vulnerable is really important for empathetic leader. And when you are able to stand still with your emotions and your needs, you're able to model or even facilitate the connection between other people. You can be there in case of some conflicts, etc., for your teammates and say, I hear this for this person and I hear this for this person, and now we can talk about it, and this is safe space. And also the last thing that I would mention is to see the company as an ecosystem when everything is connected to each other, like people, processes, atmosphere, etc. To be like aware of these connections, which is in fact like connected to the nonviolent growth is we call that we are not independent, we are codependent, because independency is like not real, it's illusion. Nobody is independent because we are here together and we influence each other. So seeing this inside the company, that everyone is connected to each other and every action has some reaction, is also something that the still calm, empathetic leader is able to do, rather than the authority-driven, I want numbers type of person.
Okay. I think it's interesting how you talk about leadership because maybe sometimes we feel that leaders are those who are in front of us. They're strong, they pull us towards the goal, and there's a lot of pushing and pulling and motivation and cheering, etc. But what I'm hearing from you is that it sounds more like a creator of safe space, someone who is able to not be necessarily only leader in performance, but also leader in vulnerability, but who is able to own their feelings, and in this way create space for other people's feelings, emotions, and maybe also bad news, feedback, etc., as you mentioned. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Own the feelings is really a good term. I really like that, because when you own your own things, you can help other to own their things.
Yeah, and leaders are those who are able to model this behavior, as you also mentioned, right? And it's difficult for the employees to do that on their own if they don't see that it is possible to do it, and that they don't see their leaders to do it. But let's now do a little demonstration, and let's show how HR professionals can support leaders and managers into becoming more like these empathetic leaders. We will have a short role play. I will be a struggling, newly promoted manager who is still finding their way in managing in people management, and you are there to support me from the position of HR professional. All right. Okay. So I know I'm still new in this role, but I feel that I work a lot, and my team is working a lot. But I'm not sure I'm doing this people management thing right. The people maybe are expecting something a little bit different from me, like checking in with them more. And I know that's supposed to be done as well. But I'm not a therapist, and I don't want to be seen as soft. I need to have my authority, especially now that I started in this role.
Okay. For the beginning, thank you for sharing that with me. I see this struggle quite often, and I hear that you are balancing or trying to balance the being empathetic, because you expect or think that people expect that from you, but also you would like to keep some of the authority, or you are afraid what would happen if you would or you are afraid if you would be empathetic and you would lose the authority, right? Is this the thing you are saying? And can we explore that more together right now?
Yeah, I would love to.
Can you describe some situation, for example, where this your struggle like was most emerging for you?
Yeah, like sometimes when we have like a check-in with the team members, they would share with me some excuses about why things are not being done.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I get that. Yeah, everyone has a tough life and everything. Uh, but I'm not sure I want to hear that. I mean, yeah, work is work, life is life. I would like to keep them separate.
Okay. And how do you feel in these situations when people share with you, for example, some parts of their personal life in the terms of excuse? What feelings are in you that moment?
Well, it's uncomfortable. I'm not really sure how to react.
Okay, so you're unsure what is expected from you, and it's like, can I say that, for example, you don't feel safe in this situation, or would you say something else?
Maybe not safe. Maybe I'm not sure how to work with it. Yeah, because if every time they share something like that with me, I just say, yeah, okay, whatever. Next time they know that they can just make an excuse, and I will not, follow up on that.
Okay. And could be confusion also part of this, like that you feel like you are confused in this? type of interaction because you don't know what to actually answer.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, what am I supposed to do with this information? I mean, I'm just, I feel like I should focus just on that task, on the deadline. Why am I hearing about, I don't know, your child getting, I don't know, sick or something?
Okay, so I'm hearing that it's uncomfortable for you, and I'm not really sure right now, like why uncomfortable. No, I hear what you said, but I was trying to dig more, like what triggers the uncomfortability. If is it that the fear that you would be vulnerable at this moment? Could the fear be the emotion behind that?
Well, maybe because, I have my issues as well, right? I have children as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel like I want to drag my issues into my work because no one would be curious about it either. So why do they tell me that?
Okay. And when in the beginning we were talking about like what you would expect like from a leader that you think that you should be, you said, or maybe I said, having authority. How does authority look like to you when you are the manager?
Well, I guess someone who helps the team get things done, like who's able to fulfill the plan and reach the goals that we set up for ourselves.
Okay, so it's some kind of like effectiveness and control.
Right, right. Because it's a team and it's important if we have the clear goals and there's someone who makes sure that the team is on the track.
Okay, so you need effectiveness, you need control, maybe even respect, like to be respected as a manager.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, absolutely. That was my biggest fear, that people will not respect me when I got promoted to this job because these are my former colleagues.
Okay, I get that. So I heard that you are uncomfortable, uh, maybe a little bit confused because you would prefer things to be like clear. You want effectiveness for your colleagues. You want control. You want respect. Probably I heard, maybe tell me, a little need for like some fairness, and I don't share my issues here, so why should they share their issues here? So the fairness like seemed also that it could be connected to that. Is this right? Okay. And you seem or you think that if you would do the things like listen to them more and more and talk about their things, that this would be perceived as a soft type of behavior.
Yeah, yeah, like they can just tell me anything and I will not push them as hard. Yeah, or I will be lenient with them.
Okay, and you think that they would, for example, think that you are a weak manager.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
have you ever like experienced someone being empathetic to you, like having someone's full undivided attention about like you speaking about your things?
Yeah, well, like in a therapy.
Okay, okay, but have you thought about the therapist that he is weak?
Yeah, no, of course not. It's his job, yeah.
Okay, but you don't like think about this person that this is a weak person because he listened to me.
Yeah, no, of course not. Yeah.
Okay, and when you imagine that you would take parts of this behavior that, for example, your therapist do for you to fulfill the needs of like control and respect that you have, but for example, in a different type of exchange, like verbal exchange with those employees, do you think that this could work? Like if you knew that you wouldn't be perceived as weak?
You mean like listening to them without this feeling of weakness?
I can give you an example. For example, that if someone misses a deadline, it was that you said, for example, what should you do? That take like a regular answer. For example, you missed a deadline. That's like not acceptable. Like what happened? That could be like your reaction, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like I would ask, of course, I want to know why.
Okay. And the reaction where you would be more empathetic, you would take parts of your, for example, what your therapist modeled to you could be like, I see that the deadline was not met.
Mm,
Like, did you need some type of support? What could we do about that for the future?
mm. So kind of mentioning it, what happened, and then kind of proactively ask for how we can change it in the future. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that you would say, for example, the first part would be like observation, not
Mhm.
like you did something wrong, like what happened, explain its interrogation, and maybe we will fire you, or you will think about that. But you will just state what happened, like observed. I saw that this deadline was like missed.
Mhm.
Observation, because that doesn't feel so attacking to this to the other person on the other hand. And then you will give them a little bit of empathy by saying, for example, did you need some support? You
Mhm.
will assume that they didn't do that like intentionally. You will assume that they did what they could. So your question would be not what happened, but did you need a little bit support with that, or did you need any support with that? Because you don't know what actually happened. It could be
Mhm.
that someone sent them something late and actually it wasn't their fault. But when they feel interrogated, when they can feel a little bit like pushed down, and for future they won't be probably doing their things. They will be either afraid or things, it doesn't matter what I do, it's wrong either way. So by asking like, did you need any help, you will get probably the explanation, like how the situation went, and you can ask more. And then asking like, what can we do together, for example, to make it right for.
Mm. Right, right. So asking about uh, what was the cause of this delay, or was there anything missing that you would have appreciated, and then what can be done in the future, kind of thing. Okay,
Is
thank.
this something that seems like reasonable to you, for example?
Yeah, it's definitely worth trying. Thank you. All right. So that was our demonstration. I liked how you really went step by step, right? And without trying to assume what was behind, but you really made sure that you first understood the situation and my issues or the manager's issues behind their initial request before coming up with possible solutions and recommendations. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing this practical example. But I'm curious, is there maybe one thing that you would recommend HR professionals if they want to see this more often in their companies? And as you mentioned, HR professionals might already be doing some of those things, but usually they want to encourage the managers. So any recommendations?
Yeah, yeah, like as you said, they're already doing that. So be sure that like if you're HR professional, that you are really like modeling this type of behavior, and modeling that in the interviews with the manager is probably like the most non-violent way how to bring this change to the organization. And if they have the possibility, for example, to choose their educational like or the educational plan for the company, they can offer these types of activities. Like they can offer the managers to have some type of empathy or communication or other skills connected to that in their curriculum of education, and bring these types of initiatives on the table could be helpful. probably even like in stronger position after they model that for a while, because the manager will be able to hear that after they will like show them, hey, it's how we talk like for the past year, and it seems that you're enjoying that. Maybe we can like explore that more and provide this possibility, for example, even to our employees, etc.
Yeah, and it's really worth it because, as you asked in the scenario at the beginning, right? Do you know anyone who can model this for you? And if the HR professionals can be those models, can be already a big change. Thank you so much for sharing all this about sustainable growth and nonviolent growth and empathetic leader, Tereza. And I'm curious, what are your latest projects? Because I know that you have some more and you cooperate with other people. And how can people reach out to you and what you can share with them?
Okay, thank you for the space. Like probably the best place to connect and just chat is LinkedIn. I'm currently in like a mini networking project, but from time to time over year, I write to my connections if they are willing to just talk about communication, because going to networking activities for me is not really a feasible thing, but I like to connect with people and talk with them about what they're solving, etc. We have a small company where we are helping people, either individuals or teams, with those topics like nonviolent growth and the communication connected to that. Like communication is the main tool for us. So it's called Elimia, and you can Google that and connect me via email, or you can look at the workshops and courses we offer. And I also write a newsletter that is called Grow Nonviolently, or Nonviolent, like Rostu nenásilně. I don't know how would I translate that. So this is probably the main streams to connect with me. The newsletter is on LinkedIn, but I started recently on Substack because it's more convenient platform for newsletter. I even share some illustrations and notes there. So LinkedIn, Substack, or our website if you would be interested in our products.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I'm going to link everything in the description of the episode. So no worries about that. Well, thank you again, Tereza, for joining this conversation, and all the best on your mission.
Thank you. Thank you for the space. And it was a really nice conversation. I like to talk about my topics.
You should. Yeah, you should be the model. Excellent.
If you are an HR professional who wants a safe space to practice speaking in English, join our Confident HR Speaker community. We meet twice a month to discuss real HR topics, expand our vocabulary, and gain the confidence to express ourselves. Plus, you'll be supported and inspired by a group of other HR professionals who share your struggles and goals. Check the link in the description to sign up. Bye-bye.